Hey everybody, welcome back to Quali-Tea time. So, there hasn't been terribly much this past week, and there has been a fairly decent reason for that, which is predominantly I've been working on various oddities a fair bit, because Various Oddities Release version 2 dropped last week, and Beta 2.01 released this Monday, which is basically the day that you're seeing this, and that includes mimics. Now, mimics are very simple creatures visually. I'm very pleased with how I've managed to actually cobble them together. They do actually share the textures of chests in Minecraft, rather than just having a copy of the default vanilla Minecraft chest texture. But the thing that really distinguishes a mimic is its behavior, so I've been spending a lot of time working on that, making sure that they are perfectly down pat before I start working on other things. I think next on my list is griffins for this version. And if you haven't been paying attention to my Twitter, you probably don't know terribly much about various oddities. So, the down low is, we obviously had a big problem on New Helena with Welcome to the Jungle, which was supplying our kobold models, which is their lizard men, their Sauron, I think is how they call it. But we realized very early on that Welcome to the Jungle also adds a lot of stuff that is not necessarily intrusive, but frequently was, and caused a whole bunch of problems, including the fact that their kobolds that naturally spawned didn't seem to have a spawn cap, so that was a problem. So then I realized, hang on, I'm using these guys for NPCs. How many times do you think people have had this exact same problem when they're trying to find good models for their NPCs? So I decided I would just make a mod that just adds good models for NPCs, doesn't add world generation, barely adds items, doesn't add crafting recipes for the most part, doesn't add any kind of natural spawnings, just adds fun, good models that are reasonably in base with Minecraft's general level of visual fidelity. And that released initially with version 1, with just the Ubervidron, because I gotta shove that model everywhere, and kobolds. And then version 2 released just recently, adding in Pegasi, winged donkeys, because I figured why not, I have the horse model now, I've just rebuilt that from scratch, I might as well include that. Trolls, goblins, and ogres, that's the one. And the next version adds things like griffins, and monkeys, and mimics, and a bunch of other things as well. So I've been working very hard on that, and it's basically meant to be the monster manual of Minecraft. You've got your standard sort of monsters from vanilla, and you can add in any number of other mods in the mod pack to get whatever monster you're looking for, but you then have to deal with basically everything else that those mods add, which is usually a lot more than just one mob. So, Various Oddities is designed to be your map building toolkit for making fun enemies and bosses and such, and there's a fair bit of work going into an inscription system in version 2, so that you'll actually be able to inscribe eggs with little AI behaviors and modifications to the contained entity, and they will actually behave differently, so you don't actually just need NPCs and stuff to do it, you can actually just make them do stuff by yourself. But that's been taking a bunch of my time. It's kind of being my special interest for the time being, so I'm working on that a lot, and it's probably going to turn up in building blocks a lot. We'll see. But yeah, so there's that. Now, I do have, before we get to the schedule, I do have a thing. A thing have occurred in more ways than one, because here we have, yeah, this is usually not good news. Some kind of damage has been accrued to this letter, at least I think it's a letter. As near as I can tell, it may be water damage. So I guess we're going to be finding out exactly what's happened to this as I open it here. But yes, this did come in through the P.O. Box. It is labeled specifically to me. And yeah, that looks like water damage to me. So I'm guessing this has been dropped at some stage, so here's hoping the contents survived. Okay, this could be interesting. What do we have here? Okay, it's on Harry Potter stationery, and it is from Forbidden Smile. Okay, well, thank you, Forbidden Smile. There is a coded message here, so oh boy. From the moment I watched your videos, I never expected to get this deep into the fandom. However, I'm glad I did. Wait, what do you mean you didn't expect to get deep into the fandom? Anyway, however, I'm glad I did. Everyone is as great as you are. Here's to years ahead where your smile will still cheer me up and I continue to enjoy your videos. And another year, I tell you, you're not old as dirt. Keep up your good work and looking after yourself. Many hugs. hug emoji. Forbidden smile. Aw. Those random symbols are a message. Oh boy. That, Also, there's some arts. Ooh, arts? Aw. That is adorable. Don't know how well the camera will pick this up. Let's see what we can do. It kind of picks it up. The lighting's a bit, well, the actor lighting here is a bit weird. And, ooh, wow, that is a monstrosity. Intentionally so, but, ooh. Some nice stuff. Thank you, Forbidden, and I will work out what this message says and potentially put that on screen, I guess. Thank you very much. And with that, onto the schedule. Our upcoming streams for the week. On Thursday night at 11 PM BST, we have Midnight Squad with XCOM 2 War of the Chosen, where we are snatching up all of those tasty region bonuses. There is no carousel this Saturday at 9 PM BST because I'm out of town most of the day at a wedding, but it will be back next week. Lastly, on Tuesday at 9 PM BST, we have more building blocks, where I'm hopping back into Yogbus to plug together some AI for the Ubervidron. And on to the questions. So as always, these are drawn from the comment section of the preceding vlog. If you have anything to ask me, drop it down below. Our first question of the week comes from Chronicler Wolfram. How much do you know about mythology? I know a decent amount about ancient Egyptian mythology. I know a reasonable amount of Norse, because I'm English. I know a decent volume of Greek. There's a fair few more I'd like to know more about. Mythology is fascinating as there's like distinct things that happen that are distinct usually to one or two maybe like cultures, and then there's these repeating elements that are sort of like, oh, so that's a common human thought, a common human notion. If you piece them all together, you can kind of figure out the general like things that are naturally dreamt of by the human mind that recur in all of our cultures, or most of our cultures at the very least. For instance, most cultures have some concept of an ogre, or a giant. It's a large human creature, frequently with horns or a different color of skin, and they're usually quite aggressive and angry. Several cultures have a concept of a dragon, which is interesting, that we frequently come up with a giant reptile that breathes fire. And then just all sorts of other mishmashes tend to happen as well. Winged horses and such, or horses that can fly at least, aren't particularly unusual in human mythologies. A lot of my more modern understandings of mythology comes from fantasy role-playing games like D&D, which is where a lot of the creatures are being drawn from for various oddities, because as I did describe it as the monster manual of Minecraft. But I wouldn't call myself an expert on any of these particular regions of mythology, but I do enjoy it. It's fascinating. I'm generally a bit of a history nerd as it is anyways. I love history, and mythology ties in greatly to that. Brave Love Meow asks, do you have a favorite lying to play? Hard to say. The big three obviously are Sir Lying from Night of Fangs, Lying Shisai from Yokai Temple, and of course The Witch from Witch in the Woods et al. And they've all got their own unique flavors. I suppose I can add them. I could probably add the maid to that list as well. But the maid is an interesting character in and of themselves. I think if I was pinned down and asked to pick one, I would probably say it's hard not to enjoy being the witch on a given day. What can I say? I'm a surprising nobody, since I'm a long-time DM. I'm a little bit of a sadist. I'm a little bit evil, and I like playing the witch in that regard. Anyways, that is it for today. Hope you've all enjoyed. I'm probably gonna throw together a little explanatory mod video of some description for various oddities, so keep an eye out for that. Don't know when that'll come out, hopefully soon. We should be seeing some more content fairly soon as well, but I've just been... When you're autistic and your special interest gets piqued, you generally tend to dive directly into that, almost in disregard of everything, including your own health. So I've been trying to rein myself in on both those ends, but yeah, well, hopefully you don't mind too much if I'm working on this, because it is a lot of fun, and it does a lot of really cool stuff going on. And yeah, check out various oddities, there'll be a link in the description. Release 2 is very stable, 2.01 has some functionality in beta, but you do get to play with the mimics. So, enjoy that. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed. Catch you all next time.
Bye.